You certainly are busy. Period. Guess that comes with responsibility. Period. We'll miss you, but look forward to seeing you when you can. Period. And I am recording.
Morning.
Morning, Bill. What snow?
What wind?
Well, there was wind.
What trees down?
We didn't get much in the way of trees down over here.
Well, we didn't either.
We've
So
got
we done
we've got roads closed due to flooding,
Ah,
but
we did get some rain.
what?
We did get some rain.
Yes, we did. I don't know how much. They were saying like 4 inches, but I don't know um, what we
Yeah,
actually got.
I don't either. I don't have a good source for uh, totals after a storm, whether it's snow or rain. They always predict and then it just sort of disappears.
I used to get all that information from Shelley because she has the gauges and things at her house,
Uh-huh.
but I'm not. She's not really up to
Yeah.
that these days. So there's Joanne. Where is Mr. Bynum?
Morning.
Morning, Joanne.
Oh,
Are you drowned over there?
I hear the Antic River is at its third highest ever, and
Yep.
they are counting the hurricane of 1938, which, having grown up in New England, I know what that means.
Yes.
Um, but I am not near the Antic. I mean, I'm not far from it. Actually, I could walk to it in probably five
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
at one point place, because it just goes all over the place. But I do remember about 15 years ago, there was a big flood, and Patrick and I went down, and like the entire parking lot in front of the Norwich Town Mall
Yep.
was a lake, and we saw refrigerators and even dumpsters going down the river. It was
Oh,
really
wow.
pretty frightening, actually.
Yeah.
And I know that some places have moved up, up from it and the like. So yeah, I don't know. The falls are always absolutely gorgeous after a rainstorm, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't get on that
Yeah.
bridge for all the tea in China.
Yep.
Not today. But I might go to the sidewalk. But yeah, we have water in the basement again. But we've got to dig a hole for the sump pump. That's just the little thing we have is not keeping up with climate change.
uh, that's tough.
Yeah. So we gotta, yeah. And who comes in and does 5 minutes of a jackhammer for you,
Yeah.
like, and I only
Look,
spend a lot of money for something to do it, but
Ah,
we'll figure
well.
it out. We'll have to figure it out. That's
Yeah.
life in the new climate. Yeah.
That's owning a home.
It's owning a home. That's right. Last night I was on a Zoom call. 3 out of the 4 of us owned a home, and the renter was like, "Yay! I live on the second floor. I don't have to worry about the basement."
Yeah.
And you didn't lose any electricity out where you are, David. I heard
No.
Haddam had some of the
No.
highest loss of power.
No, we didn't have any problem at all. And didn't have any water in the basement. Actually,
Oh,
we've
nice.
only had one flood in the basement, and it was God 25 years ago.
Mm.
So
That's a
yeah,
pretty,
we
yeah,
had a
you're a new
couple.
enough house. My house was built in like 1895. So
ah
it's just basically large rocks that are
yeah.
foundation. And the
Oh, you have
mortar
the
just kind of
granite.
doesn't stay
Yeah.
anymore. And we're on a bit
Yeah.
of a hill, so the pressure from the back comes down the hill, and that's where the
Oh
most of
yeah.
the
What did you
how will
say,
you
Bill?
build it there?
I'm fine. I lived in a house with granite foundations for
Yep.
quite a while. I dug trenches inside the basement.
Oh
So,
dear.
it flooded and out it went.
Right. Good point. Well, I think that, yeah, that's where we need. I mean, we do have a cement floor, but it's just, yeah, there's nothing you can do. The amount of money you could spend on shoring up that is not worth it. So it's just, yeah, let it flow. Don't ever put anything, that's cloth or too much paper downstairs, right?
Yeah, right.
You just don't. We never have. So it's not a usable basement in that way.
Well, Adam will not be
Just
with
us.
us. His responsibilities have overwhelmed him again. Um, and
Well,
I,
and things, people are getting sicker again.
yeah,
Too.
I,
I'm guessing the hospitals are, the numbers from what I hear are up again.
yeah. He's actually at some kind of conference this morning, uh, and I don't know where Mr. Bynum is, but since
And so,
Maybe Virginia lost their electricity. I mean, it did come all the way up the coast, so
maybe, um, but I have to leave right at
right.
the 10 because
10, you said, right?
I have a doctor's appointment 50 minutes away.
Oh, good.
Well, fortunately, the snow is gone, so.
Snow's gone, and hopefully there's no rivers that are overflowing between you and your doctor.
Yeah, hopefully. So,
are you happy this morning?
yes. So, questions? Reports? How was your practice of that last thing we were working on.
Yeah, it's still, yeah, it's going. It's going. I think kind of just, yeah, the separating and combining, kind of the paying attention and then hoping you don't have to pay attention so that you can continue to combine is always a little bit of the challenge, but that's, but I've done that before. I've been doing this long enough to know it's possible.
Yep.
So it takes a while. I don't get to do it all the time. The rain has kind of made my arthritic knees hurt more, so that's been a little problematic just in terms of getting through too much practice, but
Yeah.
still working on it as best I can.
Yeah.
I found last class very helpful, and I went back and actually kind of did practice with the recording, which was
good.
helpful.
Good. Uh-huh. Um, I realize because it's clear to me I'm not going to be obviously teaching forever, and I will be 89 in a month.
Keep that Tai Chi going, though, David.
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm keeping it going. Don't worry.
And it will keep you going
But
for a while.
I realize that I think I've probably pushed this class a little faster than might have been absolutely desirable, because I wanted to be sure I got through everything before I stopped teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. So you may indeed have to go back and
Fine. Yep.
re-separate and combine some
right.
things
Yep.
As you continue to practice. So.
Yep.
Anything for you, Bill?
Nothing particularly new. Actually, I'm finding that with the Woo class and what's going on there and the 8 Gates training, that there's a lot of overlap that's going on now that hadn't been going on before. And so that's interesting.
Yeah.
Working with the Kwa, for instance, this last week, primarily in the Woo, but I found, that here it is in this class too. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's obvious, but the fact that it is occurring to me on a regular basis is a good thing.
Good.
Wasn't exactly what we went over last week, but it's where my mind was this week.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's fine. Well, I spent some time watching you in last week's video.
Ah.
I do that pretty regularly. Sorry.
We're permanently flawed here.
And I realized that in a number of places, all of you, in one way or another, need to stay aware of the position of your elbows.
Wow.
Because I noticed we have so many postures that are going up and down through these various positions. But for instance, I was particularly noticing in 6 that when you go up, you really want to be rotating those elbows down, so that by the time you get to the top, they have pretty much almost come into your side channels. And then you're twisting and down, so that the elbows are going down, not, and what I was seeing was getting to this point with the elbows up
Ouch. Yeah.
and
And then,
and staying there.
uh,
So
uh-huh, uh-huh.
um, and so we could you could actually go through every posture um, and think about that issue of trying to move the elbows as close to the side channels as you can without closing off, obviously, the armpits. So um, it's a real issue. Um, it's not um, it's not so much of a problem in two, where as long as you get them into the side channels when you come up and not let them do this, but stay pointing down as you go through. Three's not a big problem. Four is more of a problem in that this movement coming up, similar to six, but not the
Yeah.
same. And there is a tendency to lift the elbows out as you come up. And actually, you're trying to get the elbows to go in as you go up.
Mhm.
Um, five, again, being that movement is similar to two, so it's in some ways, so it's um, same issue there, but just really important to focus on that because that really tends to interfere with the flow of the energy to the crown of the head.
Uh-huh.
So, I,
Can you just repeat what you said about the difference between 4 and 6? Because uh, I think I'm doing them probably too much the same. Uh, uh, uh,
sure. Well,
Or,
you, you said elbows in 4 come in.
you want the elbows to always be
Mine
trying
are
to come in. So we come down to the
right.
dantian. We go out, and then as the arms are going up, notice that I'm dropping my elbows.
Yeah.
And the palms are forward at the top. And then you're twisting in, coming down, and then twisting out. And as you go up, it's really at the changeover from um, expanding the etheric body to the side. The elbow has to begin to drop at that point as they come up.
Okay.
Okay? In six, obviously, as you come down, the the arms are crossed, and you have a similar expansion of the etheric body, but the arms are rotating in the other direction, in the opposite direction, so that when you get to the top, the palms are facing you. So it's an opposite turn of the arms,
Yeah.
and then coming in and down.
Okay. Okay.
Did you? Is it?
It,
Is that what you're
that
doing?
helps. Yeah. Um, I I am aware of, usually of trying to keep the elbows down. It's the more general motion of the arms coming up uh, that I'm interested in. So
Uh-huh.
um,
If you get
6 is
in,
more open.
yeah. If
Is
if
that
you,
true?
I'm sorry.
No, 6 is more open that way.
Um, it is a little more open because the of the direction that you are twisting there, but you are bringing the elbows
Yeah,
into the
okay.
side channels
Yeah,
ideally,
yeah.
then down. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's it's all of these things, we've worked on before, and then we get on to something else and something else, and all of a sudden the elbows drop out of sight.
Yep. Well, that was kind of what I was feeling, and I just wanted to
Right.
put a little emphasis
Bring them back.
back on it.
Back to me.
A reminder. It's,
Reminder, as long as we're separating and combining.
yeah, right. The elbows are so important in all of this that you know it they it, it's a great place to put emphasis at any point, just to
Uh-huh.
check in with it and make sure you've got that part of the movement. Um, and also, it's how you really connect to opening and closing the scapula, the shoulder blades. So, um, just an important element, not to drop out.
As you're talking, David, I'm thinking that I think one of my problems maybe is that as we've been talking really about rounding, right, about the circles, that the
Hmm.
hands begin to lead too much.
Yep.
And then the elbows get lost.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think that may be part of our problem.
That was part of what Bill was talking about because we were talking in the Woo class about um, trying to get the emphasis off of the hands.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And so using the quad to lead um, kind of forces you to begin to let go of some
Yes.
of that. And
Yes.
that's another way to approach it.
Right. And that was a good part. Yes. And that was part of what you were talking about last week
Yep.
as we were practicing. So that's why going back to that, kind of doing the practice, hearing you remind us of that was helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions or issues around that? Okay. So I want to take a look today at the solar plexus cavity.
Ooh. I love the cavity discussions.
I know. I don't think we've talked about the solar plexus cavity.
No, I don't think so.
No.
May not even be aware that it exists.
No.
uh, and that's one that sometimes confuses people. They think that they're thinking about the diaphragm um, because those two are close. But the fact of the matter is that the solar plexus cavity is just below the diaphragm, not much below it, just a little bit. So, where is your solar plexus? If you tap down your sternum, the first soft place you come to is your solar plexus. So it's right at the base of the sternum is what is referred to as the solar plexus. But that's not where the solar plexus cavity is. It is just below that, a little bit below that. So the solar plexus cavity has many functions. The most important one for most people is that this is the um, center point, the center in your body that is responsible for having the strength to overcome obstacles, to have perseverance, to keep on going when everybody else falters. So that is actually a very big thing in our lives. Most projects in life, most desires in life usually require a lot of follow through in order to achieve some sort of results. And it is the solar plexus cavity inside the human body which actually generates the energy for that. So the solar plexus cavity is basically on the central channel. That means that it's rather deep inside the body. You remember, of course, that the central channel is not on the surface, it's in the center of the body. And depending upon how big or small somebody is, that determines, of course, how deep it is. The important thing about this, when you are doing gods, is it can also help you get into your central channel, especially the aspect of the central channel which helps you persevere through difficulties that may last a very long time. There's an old phrase that says the secret to success is participation, and the killer of participation is giving up in the middle. So as we start doing the movements, I want to mention that the solar plexus is actually very integral to the process of doing reverse breathing in all Taoist Qigong and Neigong, which we will be coming to before long in this program. So I ask you to stand up and we'll do a little solar plexus practice. So first just stand. Let yourself land and breathe. And breathe with as much of longevity breathing as you can without effort. So as you stand and breathe, I want you now to begin to have your mind go inside and start having your solar plexus cavity move toward your central channel. Now you will experience the outside of the solar plexus cavity on this just as your diaphragm. But then if you start actually pulling it into your body, eventually you will feel something inside. And that something inside has to arrive at your central channel. So inhale and have it go toward your central channel. And exhale and have it go away from your central channel. In truth, it's not going to be all about inhaling and exhaling. It's really going to be about opening and closing. You have to close that sense of the solar plexus cavity and bring it in toward your body. And when you have a sense of opening the solar plexus cavity, it's going towards your skin. It's almost like a little ball is in front of you and it's going back to your central channel and forward again. And back to your central channel and forward to its original position. And now the next thing is to open and close your lower dantian. Getting the solar plexus cavity and the lower dantian to connect is very much about perseverance and the overcoming of obstacles. There was a phrase, remember, if you don't succeed, try again. And that's just another statement of perseverance. And now, having your lower dantian and solar plexus together, see if you can get the other cavities in your body online. The armpits, the throat notch, the midriff, the quad, and the back of the knee. And as you do these together, you should normally find the crown of your head, or bai hui, start being naturally more active, as well as the bubbling well points on the bottom of your feet starting to become more naturally alive. Now, having all of these together, begin doing movement 6. And just let your mind get very stable and smooth, because it's not that easy to keep it all together at once. Especially since you want to have the opening and closing of your cavities cause all your joints to open and close as well. Now, of course, if you find it too difficult to do all the cavities at once, then, as you have done before, you can track backwards. So start opening and closing your qua. And it can be pretty arbitrary which ones you choose to add, but for now, the back of your knees. So at least we have the bottom half, the lower basin of your body going. Then add your midriff. Trying to have all of these opening and closing together. And then add your armpits. So you're getting the left and right channels. Just moving reasonably well. And then your throat notch. And your lower dantian. And your solar plexus cavity and your lower dantian. Then from your lower dantian, bring the energy up your central channel to your solar plexus, your throat notch, and the crown of your head. And then down from the crown of your head to your throat notch, to your solar plexus, to your lower dantian and your perineum. And then every time your hands rise from your perineum, bring your chi up your central channel to your head. Going through all these major cavities. And when you go down from the crown of your head, down through your throat notch, your solar plexus, your midriff, your lower dantian, your perineum, your qua, and the back of your knees. And by the time you have all of this, and with some sort of luck, your solar plexus cavity online, so the next time your arms come down, just let them remain and pause and relax.
Mm.
So,
I
what
love the
did
way you
what
start the
did you
questions.
yeah,
So,
what did you feel?
boy, I felt a lot. I mean, by the end, I was burning up. I was so warm.
Yeah, great.
The energy was really flowing, and I'm always happy when I feel something before you mention it.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Good.
So I was feeling my feet before you mentioned that, for example.
Uh-huh.
Little harder to get it totally to the top, but then that came. Um, yeah, took me a couple turns to kind of feel like I was getting it in sync, and particularly with the back of my knees. But yeah, I
Good.
could feel it. And I think I was doing, and I was more aware, obviously more aware of the elbows. So I think that I felt more like there was a kind of working in sync.
Good. Uh, How about the solar plexus cavity?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I could feel it. Although I wasn't quite, again, to go back, I wasn't quite sure what you meant about the connection between the solar plexus cavity and the lower dantian.
Mm.
I mean, I felt a synchronicity, and I felt like I was able to um, pulse, if that's the right word, all of the cavities or open and close all the cavities at the same time, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, did you want to say more about what you meant by that connection?
Yeah, the this first connection we're making is that the lower dantian and the solar plexus cavity work together.
Okay.
When we go to looking at the forms of reverse breathing, um, that isn't always the case.
Okay.
They work
Yeah.
together, but sometimes they are working in opposition to each other.
Gotcha. Of course.
Of course. Uh, but for now, they're both working. We're
Okay. All
looking
right. Yeah.
to really strengthen that connection, to feel that connection, particularly of the solar plexus and the dantian working together. Bill?
I had all kinds of things going on. When we started, I've been working on longevity breathing a bit,
Uh-huh.
week or so, and uh, I was getting the solar plexus working, and of course, I was aware that the kidneys are in there, and the liver's in there, and the lungs are in there.
Good.
um, uh, um, and then when you suggested connecting the plexus with the lower dantian, um, I generated that from the qua right away.
Hmm. Good.
And that kicked off, it made it so easy to get up to the shoulder, to the armpits and the throat notch. And I felt like the whole body was breathing. Yeah. Um,
Great.
um, I lost sight of the solar plexus individually in
Mhm.
there, but I could sense, and there was tingling going on
Mhm.
all the way through what we were doing with uh, movement six, whole body, um,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially
Good.
legs, waist on down, but the whole body. So it was good.
Yeah. Sounds like it. That's great. That's great. Um, so one of the things to, particularly in 5 and 6, is to, as you're practicing those, to be aware of that connection of the solar plexus cavity to the central channel.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I didn't do a lot of emphasis of that in this particular practice, but um, that is a really important connection to try to feel, because it does help you make a more concrete connection to the central channel. So, um, any other questions or thoughts at the moment? Well, I think I'm going to leave you with that.
Okay.
uh,
Get your rowboat out to go to the doctor.
yeah, right. Hoping I don't have to go across the river. Uh, Well, I don't have to go through Lake Hayward. I'm sure I can't get through there anyway now, so.
No, yeah, I
But
doubt it. I just got a text from my son-in-law that there's a partial dam break over on the Antic.
yeah, I saw that on the news this morning.
That the upper dam from the falls?
I believe so.
I think that's the only dam that there is in Norwich on that river.
In Norwich, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has been, we go over there a lot, and it's some of the large stones have been begun to fall out in the last year, so I'm not terribly
Ooh,
surprised. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, they were trying to figure out what do you do,
yeah.
take it over. And so I guess that means there's a lot of flooding downriver.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have wanted my car in the parking lot of the Falls Mills Apartments, that's for sure.
no, no.
That floods easily. Ay, 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 ay. All right.
Uh, yes. Well, we'll hope no disasters.
Right, right. Some property destruction, but I don't think any. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
climate change is with us. So yeah,
constant change.
constant
Thank
change.
you.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Good luck, everybody.
Good.
We will see you next week.
See you next week.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Great. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.